When you're standing in front of a blank wall and wondering whether the next projector you buy will actually make a home office presentation look sharp, a movie night feel immersive, or just end up as a dim, noisy box, that hesitation is real. I've spent the last few weeks setting up a couple of budget-friendly models, checking how they handle everything from spreadsheets to sports highlights, and I've tried to separate the hype from the everyday performance you'll actually notice. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Powerlite 1980WU pushes 4400 lumens and a 19201 200 WUXGA resolution, which on paper looks like a sweet spot between entry-level and professional gear. What matters most, though, is whether those numbers translate into a clear picture in a typical living room or small conference space, and whether the price really reflects a good trade-off. First off, let's talk about the environment where most buyers will use this thing. I placed it 3 meters away from a 100-inch screen in a room with ambient lighting that you'd find in a family TV area, not a dark home theater, but also not a brightly lit kitchen. The projector lit up the screen with a brightness that made the whites feel bright without washing out the colors, and the WUXGA resolution gave text a crispness that was noticeably better than the 720p you see on many cheap units. For a remote work setup, that means a spreadsheet with fine grid lines stays readable, and a video conference looks professional rather than grainy. One of the practical strengths is the built-in lamp life claim. Powerlite advertises a relatively long lifespan, and in my week of daily use the lamp didn't show any signs of dimming. That's a real cost saver because lamp replacements on lower-priced models can eat into any upfront discount. Speaking of cost, the price point lands well below many of the brand-name alternatives that promise similar brightness. When you factor in the lamp longevity, you're really getting a lower total cost of ownership, which aligns with the more for the money promise the manufacturer makes. On the flip side, there are a couple of hidden trade-offs that become apparent once you start using the unit beyond the first impression. The fan noise, while not deafening, is audible when you're sitting close to the screen. In a quiet home office scenario, that hum can be a mild distraction, especially during long video calls. Also, the lens shift is limited to a small range, so you have to be fairly precise with placement on the table or ceiling mount. If your room layout doesn't allow for that exact positioning, you'll end up with a bit of keystone distortion that you'll need to correct in the menu, which can be a hassle if you're not comfortable digging into settings. Another practical point is connectivity. The projector includes HDMI, VGA, and a USB Type-A port, which covers most laptops and media players, but it lacks wireless mirroring. For users who expect to cast directly from a phone or tablet without a dongle, you'll need to buy an additional adapter. That's an extra expense and a small inconvenience, but it's not a deal breaker if you're primarily hooking up a desktop or a streaming stick. Who should consider buying the Powerlite 1980WU? If you're a remote worker who needs a reliable, bright display for presentations and you're okay with a wired connection, this projector gives you a crisp image without the premium price tag. It also fits families that want occasional movie nights on a large screen without the need for a dedicated darkroom. The excellent product claim holds up when you look at the balance of brightness, resolution, and lamp life for the price. Who might want to skip it? If you're a home theater purist who wants near silence and seamless wireless streaming, you'll likely feel the fan noise and the missing Wi-Fi option. Likewise, if you need extensive lens shift or a zoom range for a flexible mounting scenario, you'll find the limited adjustment a bit restrictive. For large venues, conference halls, or classrooms where you need higher throw distances and more robust connectivity options, stepping up to a higher-end model would make more sense. In terms of day-to-day usability, the remote control is straightforward, and the on-screen menu is not cluttered with unnecessary options. I found the color settings easy to calibrate using a basic test pattern from a streaming stick. After a quick tweak, skin tones looked natural and the blacks held enough depth for darker movie scenes. The projector also responded quickly to power on/off, so you're not waiting minutes for the lamp to warm up. That immediacy matters when you're switching between a work call and a quick Netflix episode. A final practical observation is the portability factor. The unit weighs around 7 kilograms, which is light enough to carry between rooms but heavy enough that it's not something you'll want to move around daily. If you're planning a semi-permanent setup in a dedicated space, that weight isn't an issue, but for a truly mobile solution, say, taking it to a friend's house for a game night, it could.